welcome to the SBP Podcast Mobile Filmmaking. You're listening to episode 150, and I'm your host, Susy Botello. This episode is a little different than the rest, but only in the sense that we have more than one guest, and this is going to be an ongoing discussion. I welcome you to the very first introduction to our new series, a bi-weekly panel discussion covering topics of interest affecting the filmmaking and the mobile filmmaking community jointly with the Foundation in Storytelling Through Film. This is a panel discussion with friends from this podcast that you've heard before, and friends of ours and friends of yours. Fade Into Film discusses current events and news of interest to both communities with an effort to solidify a connection between them. And so I present you to our panelists. Hear the drum roll. Get ready, everybody. Our panelists are Levi Austin Morris, Joey Min, Ryan McDonald, Erica Taylor, and Jason Rivera. Oh, and myself, Susy Botello. I'll be the moderator and the host.
We are Fade Into Film.
I'm Susy Botello, and I'm the host of the SBP Podcast and founder of the International Mobile Film Festival by S. Botello Productions. And I'm in San Diego, California.
Hi, my name is Ryan McDonald. I'm a writer, director, producer, actor for feature films and short films, and I am out of Ogden, Utah.
Hi, I'm Levi Austin Morris, and I'm an actor, writer, director, and filmmaker in Los Angeles, California.
I'm Erica E.T. Taylor, and I'm a visual storyteller, video producer, and mobile filmmaker from Houston, Texas.
Hey, I'm Joey Min. I am the creative head for Art School Dropouts, a YouTuber, but also a filmmaker, and we are located in New Jersey.
Hey, let's start with you, Ryan. Ryan, share with everyone a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, hi. My name is Ryan McDonald, and I am a iPhone filmmaker. I've shot a feature film called Married and Loving It on the iPhone. I've also filmed a few other short films on the iPhone as well. I'm an award-winning director, producer, actor, and this is my passion. I love movies.
Awesome. Thank you, Ryan. Levi.
Yeah, hi. I am Levi Austin Morris. I am located in Los Angeles, California. I'm a filmmaker. I've been shooting on the iPhone since 2014. I've done a number of short films, and I recently completed a feature, Paralysis, which is a horror film, and it's in the festival circuit right now. So, yeah.
Awesome. E.T.?
All right. Yes, that's me, E.T. So I like to go by my initials, my name, Erica Taylor, so my initials, E.T. I am a visual storyteller, a video producer, and a mobile filmmaker, which I ventured into with using my iPhone and was able to submit my first short film for the International Mobile Film Fest. I produce videos for the company that I founded called Rebel Moon Creative in Houston, Texas. And I also teach part-time. So that's a little bit about me.
Thank you, E.T. Joey?
Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm Joey Min. I am a filmmaker and the creative head for Art School Dropouts. We are on YouTube if you guys want to check us out. And yeah, we do a lot of martial arts, comedy action films. So they're in the same vein of Jackie Chan. And we made a film that's kind of like our Swede attempt, actually, to The Legend of Zorro with an iPhone. And I think that's how we found ourselves here. Please check us out on YouTube.
Awesome. Thank you. All right. I wanted to sort of welcome you guys to the very first introduction to this series. How are you all doing?
Great.
Pretty good.
Doing very well, thank you.
Hot today.
It is hot. It
Yes.
is like the hottest day on the planet.
Yeah.
Oh. And as a matter of fact, E.T., you remember when we were recording our podcast episode a couple of weeks ago, you guys over there in Texas were frying in heat.
Right. We've also been under excessive heat warnings. So with the heat and humidity, it can be insane.
Definitely. And I told you that we were gonna get it over here in California, and we just started getting it.
How disappointing. You can keep the heat, E.T.
That sounds like paradise up over there.
Yeah,
Well,
it's compared to Texas, and hopefully, I mean, we'll not all get sucked up into this for too much longer. Hey Ryan, what have you been up to lately?
Yeah, recently we just had our 48-hour film festival here so I'm in Utah, here in Salt Lake City. So you have from Friday night until Sunday night to write, direct, and everything, and edit a short film. So we did that. I have a team here that I've been working with for a couple of years, and then they did a screening, and then there's another evening where they did the best of, and we actually won best acting for that as well.
Yes, congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I appreciate
Awesome.
it. Yeah, so I'm used to doing so my feature film. I do act in my feature film, and it's dramatic, but it's also like kind of my own comedy in a sense. I'm used to doing comedies, so with the team I was working with, I thought we were going to be doing a comedy, and then the night before they sent me the script, and I was really, because they sent me this just drama piece, this dad who, like, his wife has passed away, and I was kind of freaking out. Actually, I was like, I don't know how I'm going to do this. I don't do drama.
Yeah.
I can do the anger stuff really well, but I can't do like the sorrow and things like that. Like even just simply just normal chitter chatter kind of stuff like that it feels so fake to me. But with the help of the people who were directing me and the crew, we pulled it off, I guess, because we won.
Yeah, congrats.
Super.
Wow.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, and Ryan's got his Married and Loving It feature film was in our film festival the same year. Levi's film was in it. Not the feature, but the tea.
Yeah, was it called Tea Party?
Oh, it was no, it was not about a tea party.
Wasn't it?
Was that because mine was the COVID year? Was
Yeah.
Married and Loving It during COVID? Oh.
Yeah.
Well, I love that.
Yeah, it was called the tea was Levi's, and Married and Loving It was then. But see, Levi and Ryan met during our film festival last year because they were both there, and Ryan and Brandy came and they taught a workshop, and that's how they met. But we didn't show their whole film. We showed the trailer,
Yes.
for your film. Yeah, but that's pretty awesome. Eric, E.T., what have you been up to lately?
Lately, well, I just started my online class. So I'm teaching an introduction to mass communications. And then over the weekend, I filmed a 80s themed roller skating party. So that
I cannot roller skate.
Sounds lovely.
was a lot of fun.
It's dangerous.
Let's say, I want to say a few weeks ago, I filmed, there was a festival called Tokyo Night Fest in Houston. And so it goes on annually, sort of anime themed festival, super cool. And so I was able to film that. I was a part of the festival's documentation team. And so able to get some good footage and put some put some content together, and a lot of my content was used on their Instagram. So I thought that was
excellent.
Cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Congrats.
Thank you. So now just making sure I'm staying on top of my online class. And the cool thing is the fall I'm scheduled to teach a video production class. So if I knock on your doors about making a guest appearance through Zoom, just know that's me. You'll be talking to students.
Nice.
She expects us all to say yes.
Yes. I'll dress myself up a little bit more than I am now.
Yeah.
E.T., you said you're teaching mass media right now?
Mass communications. Oh, yep.
Mass communications. Yeah. So is that like journalism stuff or?
So it's like a survey class, so where we go over kind of each major industry. So from digital media, social media, audio or sound, or let's say music industry. We also go over television, movies, streaming and broadcast. And then we'll also get into journalism, social, legal issues or topics. What else? We'll talk about print, books. So kind of hitting on the major media industries from start to finish. And we'll do a lot of discussing, reflecting, and just kind of seeing kind of connecting what's happening as of current and connecting that to a lot of past things in the different media fields.
The reason I bring that up is because my major was in media communications, and it just sounds like almost identical to that. And it was, and I was doing that during September 11th, which is what gave me the vision of mobile filmmaking at the same time, because like you said, you're connecting the past all the way through to the present. And I was actually taking a media history class on that day. Wow. And so everything just connected. It's kind of a trip. Yeah.
Well, I can spark the same thing with my house. Cool.
Yeah. So, Joey, what have you been up to?
We've been pretty busy. We were like working on a lot of other people's stuff for the past half a year, and we've been actually working on our second feature film. And I guess like I'm trying to clear off our plate so we could kind of get back on track with doing our own stuff. Gotta work, right?
You also won something that had to do with HBO, right? Just recently?
Yeah. So about 6 months ago, like during November, HBO had their yearly UAS film festival, up in New York, and it's really for like action films and stuff like that. And
Nice.
Since it was their first time back having a physical film festival, since during the COVID years they kind of just went digital for a bit. We came in and we kind of like submitted our 3-4 years worth of stuff, and we just kind of I guess we just kind of shotgun our stuff there, and we were we won a bit, and then it almost kind of looked like it was rigged. And I was like, I don't want to do that ever again. It's like, yeah.
Why? So, okay. So just so everybody knows, your film, the stuff that you do for your YouTube channel is a lot of live action, right?
Yeah, it's our style is kind of like in the same vein as Jackie Chan, so it's supposed to feel like kind of an 80s 90s style of comedic martial arts action films, but we are obviously trying to modernize it, and it's kind of like the question that we have is like if would Jackie, like, with the style of like the very I guess martial arts action films, kind of like Jackie Chan, would he still be big now if he was still in his prime, right? Like that idea. And I know that's kind of a weird question since, he's the one that kind of started a lot of that style of physical action. I think like
It's kind of like slapstick.
kind of, but if you think about it, I guess it's like it paved the way for something like Mission Impossible. What
Yeah.
with the
Or Everything
Tom Cruise.
Everywhere All at Once.
Oh, yeah,
Like,
it's
there's
of course,
yeah.
right? And so obviously that is kind of I think it's fresh now for the younger people since they didn't grow up in that era of cinema. So but I'm somewhat of an old head, and so I have like a couple of people on my team that are younger, but they did grow up with that type of cinema at home because of their parents or whatnot. So I'm trying to keep this thing alive, I guess.
It's really I when you were in our podcast episodes before, and I'm going to include those in the notes for people to get to know each one of you, so that they can go into your background a little bit through our podcast. But we were talking about that because I remember, especially on the first one, we were talking about how important it is to the film industry and to the current filmmakers to keep that alive in the the Asian filmmaking style of live action and comedy and everything.
Yeah,
right?
it is kind of weird though in the, I guess, in the landscape of what we do, like at least in the genre, like how now that since it's not just Hong Kong in China that actually did that whole, or that had the movie presence, it's like all of China, and there's many places now that that I guess China has evolved in terms of filmmaking within like their community. So now even like the most remote areas, there's people like doing filmmaking now, right? So the stories are much more diverse and whatnot. But obviously, how China like lets only like certain amount of movies like internationally into their borders per year. It's a weird thing, but it's kind of different now, right? Like now that the power has like it's not just in Hong Kong, it's not just centralized. Like everyone makes movies now, and it's a big place, right? So it's seeing the I guess the influence of like old school, like 80s, 90s, the golden era Hong Kong action filmmaking, how it's dispersed throughout the world, really. So it's just kind of cool to see it. It's just that obviously our style is very like I guess in a way we do have our own iconic like imagery when we do our films, and just trying to bring it to the modern take.
Well, you do have the YouTube style too.
Yeah, it's which is kind of funny. I thought I would definitely dislike it, being a filmmaker on YouTube. But after a while, I think being a filmmaker on YouTube really does have its benefits. It teaches you, I think, which would be my byline that you were asking me earlier. I think one of the things I definitely developed is discipline over inspiration. Right? Like,
Wow.
yeah, and being on YouTube, and when we developed a like kind of a deadline for ourselves before, and we were we've been at it for like a while, and trying to hit those deadlines just to make something really taught us one, like mechanically how we should do our filmmaking style, right? And by doing that, like every week when we were like having a deadline, we became a much more efficient and better group in doing what we're doing, which helped our, I guess, like the standards of our filmmaking get better and better, even if it's little tiny steps. But we hammered that home simply because we did it out of repetition. And I think that's like a really good thing for filmmakers to do. That's why the idea of like mobile filmmaking, like it's a good thing to practice it, even just for a little bit. And I think there's a lot of filmmakers out there that like they're when they're inspired to work and they make something, but they they would be better if they were like able to practice on their craft like over and over again, right? It doesn't really matter if you make like a feature film or like a 30-second like I don't know, like vlog or something, right? But it's still practice. And that's kind of one of the things that we promote on our channel is like the idea of like, we have this thing called like no cameraman filmmaking, just so as a, you know, as a director or whatever like that, like you can conceptualize your angles, your shot progression, you know, blocking even, you know, and you could practice that by yourself, right? And that's, I guess that's one of the things.
That's really cool. I love just.
And we do like fight scenes, so it's kind of like way harder too with like just a phone and, you know, planning the shots when I'm doing it, but makes it faster, makes it easier. It you know, it's not so like you become formulaic. It's more of the knowing that, oh, okay, so this is what this angle would look like, and I already know it had, you know, it's in the Rolodex of shots in the back of my head, so at least I can I can storyboard faster or something like that.
Yeah,
so,
and visualize. I was a part of a sketch comedy group for years, and we shot all of our sketches on our phones. So I have that from 2014 until like 2017, and we shot, I don't know how many sketches, but way too many sketches.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
But I was usually the cameraman because I was the most comfortable shooting with a phone because I had previous experience with it. And so that is, I will say, one of the key things that sort of, you know, that it was like trial by fire. You know, you learn as you go, and you figure out what you can do and cool things that you can do that you can't do with another camera.
Right?
So,
definitely. And
there's a lot of flexibility.
And then the thing is to also, I think, being on YouTube, you know, it also kind of exposes you to criticism, right? And I think that's one way for you to evolve yourself also as an artist on in the public eye is like how you take that, right? Like how if somebody, you know, it's easy to be happy when somebody compliments you, like, oh my God, it's really awesome. But what about those criticism that actually do mean something, right? That are not, you know, that are negative, like inherently because like, oh yeah, you know, I didn't do that with my film and this person's right. And you know, it really, you could really check your ego at the door, realizing like, yeah, there's more for me to work on, you know. And I think that's a good thing.
Yeah. Process versus product. That's what I was taught. And that's sort of how I live my life. Like every single project that I do is a stepping stone to improve as an artist.
Right,
so
right. Yeah, it's awesome. Like I love it.
Man,
That is, yeah, go ahead, E.T.
I don't know. I'm just writing this down. These are really good.
Yeah, it's one of the things because all of you, Ryan, Joey, Levi, Eric, E.T., you all have that in common where you've, because of what you do in film and video, you've developed a team. You've developed your family that works together. And it's through that process, like Joey, like what you were saying about you just keep at it. And as you're practicing and you're doing things together, it just helps with the bonding. You know, Ryan has been acting in films and making films for a long time. I'm still surprised when you share something and how good it is, you know. No, I don't want to sound like that sounds horrible. But yeah, it's really good. I mean, I remember over Christmas time, Ryan, you made that skit. That
skid mark.
About the skating still with but you made that skit with the other actor about knocking on the door and the woman answering and you know that one.
The carolers.
That was awesome. Yeah, feel free to.
Oh no, sorry. The carolers. Yeah, that was we did that a couple years ago. But that was another scenario. Somehow I found myself into acting. I think it was because back in the day when I was so I started getting into film. I'm fortunate enough to have the idea that I wanted to do this back when I was a kid. So all through high school, and I already knew what I wanted to do as far as being a filmmaker. And when I was making those like high school videos and whatnot, like you need somebody to be in the video and so you kind of just throw yourself in there. Eventually, I started more just directing and not being the actor. But then eventually people started asking me to act in their stuff, and that's kind of how I ended up in The Carolers. Was I guess people thought that I was a good actor. I'm still kind of in disbelief by it, but apparently I do a decent job. So.
Oh yeah, well, you just won Best Actor.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm still scratching my head on that one too.
Yeah. Well, I will say the best artists still have imposter syndrome. Nicole Kidman has talked about it in interviews that she feels like she's going to get fired at the end of every single project, or at the beginning of every single project.
Yeah.
So like embrace that. Like if people see something in you, then you're right. Like you bring something that they need or that they want. So.
Yeah. No, that's great.
But I think that's right. That's pretty common. The whole imposter syndrome, because I know I feel like I don't know.
Yeah.
Because I think everybody has their own idea of what success is, and I know I haven't reached what I think where I want to be. Right. So everything that I do, it's like, oh man, this is terrible. That's usually what
it's really interesting because when I'm directing, like I feel very opposite. Like I'm so cocky about it, and I'm like that was just like this movie, or that was that's the Michael Mann stuff right there. Like, and I feel but when I'm acting, they'll say cut, and I'll walk off, and I have to check with. So my wife, Brandy, she's a filmmaker as well, and even on this last project, I walk up to her and she's like, "That was really good." I'm like, "Are you serious?" Because it feels so fake to me. But when I'm shooting something, it's completely different. And we were talking about the YouTube comments, and when I went through film school, some of the art classes I took, we were told by our professors like, "Hey, like, we're gonna create art, and then we're going to sit here and critique it together, and if you cannot handle the critique, then you need to reevaluate whether or not you want to be an artist." And so some of the times, so I guess for me, my skin is a little bit thicker on that when I've been called adult, I've been called different things online. I just kind of brush it off. However, but when I'm acting, I'm like, really, that's like my most insecure. But when I'm directing, for me, it's like.
But I mean, I think it's similar. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I'm done.
Oh, I was just gonna say it's similar for me though too. Like I actually was a theater major in college. I was both directing and performance major, and I always felt more confident directing just because at that point you get to. It's like you're playing with the puppets, and I mean that in the most respectful way toward the actors. But there's a vulnerability when it's you. Like it's more personal because it has to come from you. You're the channel. You're the emotional journey that people have to follow. So it is like I think they're both incredibly vulnerable because as a director, I like Susy and E.T. can speak to this during the film festival when my movie was playing. I was standing in the back because I could not handle the anxiety. But it's different when you are performing. I feel like it does feel more vulnerable.
Yeah, I think so.
Also, it's that the make or break part of this industry that we're all in, which is that vulnerability, right? And that the imposter syndrome. That's kind of what pushes you. Whether if you don't feel the push to keep trying and do better, then you feel the break, which is, I can't handle this. I'm not doing this again.
Yeah. I think that's I think it's very apparent to like a lot of YouTubers too. Like, because I guess I don't really consider myself as a YouTuber. It's a way to, it's like
it's just a platform.
Yeah, it's a platform for
to share your work.
Yeah, films, right? But even though the way that we actually still go about it, it's still very YouTube like, since we put up vlogs, and usually we have this unifying pillars of what Art School Dropouts is. So anything that we put on our YouTube, it has to do something with us. Like it's about our filmmaking journey or our actual films, short films, web series, whatever. But yeah, I realized with people commenting and if they say something like fortunately enough there isn't a lot, but there are people that say some very mean things. But I realize it doesn't affect me because I am my worst enemy. Like nobody can say anything meaner than what I've been saying to myself.
Yeah.
I'm like, So they're like, "Oh, this film is terrible." I'm like, "Yeah, dude, you're right." Like,
I feel the same way. Some people will be like, "Oh, this is the shot sucks." And it's like, I know it sucks. I did it. And
Yeah.
So,
I have to live
And
with
I
it.
thought it when I shot
yeah.
it.
And I've been dreading it ever since I did it. Like, why did I change this?
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie. I cut 15 minutes of my film from the first cut to the one that's out there. And most of it was things that I was like, in the back of my mind, I was like, I don't know if this is working. And so it was sort of like that. Like, I'm just gonna cut it, and it works. It works better now that it's gone. So
That's what I think. That's what the thing is, right? Like that is like a very good tool, or for us as directors, because like we have to be okay with cutting stuff out. Like we have to be our worst critic. I think.
Yes.
It's like
That's true. But see, and that's what everybody goes through. Like you were talking about Nicole Kidman.
Mm-hmm. With
Yeah.
every project, she says that she has this imposter syndrome, and she is like, they're going to fire me, or she'll suggest different actors to the director before they start shooting, and yeah, I think it's amazing that somebody like Nicole Kidman still feels that way.
I know,
So
right?
yeah,
Crazy.
I think that's awesome, and that's also really inspiring for listeners who are looking to maybe try this or have been sitting on something for a long time, just waiting for that go ahead that no one's going to give you unless you do it yourself. You know what I mean? It's up to you to push yourself that way, and to know that successful people that have accomplished things, they feel the same way. So just go for it.
Right. And I think that's why the whole idea of mobile filmmaking, right? Like it's the, like, not everybody would have access to, like going to NYU or something like that. And you have like an RE or whatever,
Right.
like, but it's, as long as you're able to tell your story, right? Like, I mean, I think maybe now with all of the very high, big budget type of films that have becoming, if you think about it, like, it's a format every year now, right? It's
a template.
Yeah, right. Like maybe
The formula has become a template.
yeah, exactly. So maybe this time around, like, like it's like it's a new I don't know, like film nouveau, right? With like filming with a phone. I mean, it's not the way or how you execute making your film, but maybe the message, right? And I think that's a very powerful tool, a phone, to make your movies.
It definitely gives you the ability to explore, especially like anything new.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, well, it hasn't been done before. It's not super established or anything like that, which is why these formulas and templates happen. The problem with those is, yes, they help filmmakers, but what happens is the viewers, you're also teaching the viewers what the template is because you're repeating it back and forth with every single film, and they are onto it, and they walk away from it going, yeah, I already knew everything that was going to happen, and that this would lead into that, and it takes away the oomph, you know what I mean, from each film, and it hurts the story in the end.
I just think there's too many like too big grandiose ideas of films nowadays. Like I kind of miss the idea of having like a small town like idea of a film,
Yeah.
Everything always has to be like sweeping vistas, everything always has to be like the end of the world type of thing, like, you can take it down a little bit, like
make it an intimate.
Yeah, right. It's a different feeling when it comes to those type of films,
Yeah.
and I think that's what I miss during like the early 2000 type of films, right? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, we haven't had a Shawshank in like 20 years. Yeah. Like
I was gonna say something like more like, oh, we haven't had like a Legally Blonde, like or something like.
Well, yeah, but
I
just something
love
where it's just
that
kind of. Well, I was
movie.
gonna say, I was saying like Shawshank because there's no sequel, and with Legally Blonde there is, but just the idea that it's kind of like one movie. It's front to back, boom, that's it. There's nothing else, outside of that.
You know why that happens? That happens because the executives want and the investors want the return on their investment.
Well, yeah,
And those have been proven to make some sort of profit for them. And then it becomes this machine of profit making, and nothing else will get through those doors because they're not seen that way. And the investors say, no, we want this one. This is the profit maker.
Yeah, I mean, the executives now aren't really filmmakers, right? They're not the artists, so they wouldn't understand. They're all business.
I don't think they've ever been.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I don't think they ever. I mean, it's easy to point the finger at those guys, but at the same time, there's also the audience who goes and sees it too.
Yes.
Right? It's like
Yes.
when they were making back when it was like Steve Martin was on his third Pink Panther movie. I'm like, what are they doing here? But apparently, there's people seeing it. So it's also, I think that's where we're at now, where they're noticing these movies. Like the last couple of movies I saw in theater, The Flash and Indiana Jones 5, I thought were amazing, but they're flopping. And I think that it's part of that is that, like, the audience is, we've been cheated so many times, and we have paid for movies that we shouldn't have seen. And they're finally maybe discovering that.
But if they're good, wouldn't it like not flop? Because like I know I like the Shazam movie, the second movie, and I mean people seem to dislike it, and apparently it was it's like a flop. But I thought it was like kind of adorable, like the film.
Well, we're talking about special theme genres right there. Where they have a specific audience that will go right into that, and they're the same ones that will criticize it, not so much because of the film, but they criticize it for little things because they geek out on the movie before they even watch it. There's a history to the characters, right? Like Superman, and look what happened with the new Lord of the Rings, right? It had a following for I don't know how many years now, but then that one came out, and everybody was so used to these particular characters, and they were criticizing it a lot, where they couldn't see it as a new thing in itself.
But isn't that because like the source material has been on other things besides film? Like there isn't really an original like
comics and things. You mean?
Yeah, like I mean, what's the last original thing that's been on like in the movies, right? Like that's just made from the movies itself, right? Like
Tenet. No,
oh,
I'm looking at it. I have a book on Tenet, so I'm like looking right at it. But
that's
so
what I was thinking too.
But
right?
it's like the most like mind blowing movie, and everybody's like, oh, you can't hear the dialogue. It's like, what Chris Nolan movie have we been able to hear the dialogue?
Right.
I'm looking forward to Oppenheimer, and I'm already expecting that I probably won't be able to hear the dialogue because somebody's wearing a mask or a nasal spray or something like that. There's gonna be something in the way.
I love
of the dialogue.
I love Tenet. Like that proves a lot of things, man. I love Tenet.
Yeah, I liked it too because again, it was so unique on it as well, and it forces you to think, and that's the thing that those other movies don't do enough. It's show. It's a big show. You know what I mean? Like, so back in the 80s, there were these home theaters that people could buy, right? Mm-hmm. And you could sit at home and you'd have the surround sound, you'd spend thousands of dollars on this. And then why would you go to the movie, after that? And I think that also plays into the whole thing that's happening with the home box office. It's like people will only go and spend the $300, on tickets and dinner and taking the family out. If it's a big show like that, like, yes, it's worth the big screen and the big sound.
Does anybody remember like Circuit City? You'd walk into like Circuit City and they'd have these like surround sound rooms.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yep. And they close the doors and they're like, sit down. That's part of the sale though.
Yeah, I have to admit I'm one of those people that made like my basement into like a home theater kind of thing. So
yeah.
Yeah,
well, you should see the speakers here, but I try to justify it as a reason. It has nothing to do with the music. It's like, well, I'm watching films for our film festival. Got to give them the best shot, and I'm watching them. E.T., do you have anything that I feel like like we left you out of the conversation here?
Oh no, no, I think that was. I don't think I have anything to add. Really. I think I need to take.
Do you go to the theaters a lot, or?
I haven't been lately. I've been wanting though. I think I'm gonna try to go this weekend. So the movie The Blackening is out, which is like
Yes.
for film.
Yes.
Yeah.
That looks funny as hell.
You've seen it already?
No, not yet. I was gonna watch it like next week, actually.
Yeah, I've heard it's already on like Prime and things like that, but I want to see it on a big screen first.
Yes.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. So, all right. So I think this is a good introduction to our friends.
Susie, I apologize. Did we get Levi's introduction?
I don't think we did. But
you know what? I was thinking the same thing. I think I went from Ryan to Levi, but then I thought, well, maybe I'm just so into this. Let's do it. Levi, what have you been up to?
Hey, I have been in various film festivals with my feature film Paralysis. We just were in a festival, the Horror Show Fest in Italy, and we won Best Mobile Feature, so that's
Woo-hoo.
really cool. And I will be traveling to Chicago in August for another festival. So yeah, and I'm writing my next feature, which is a dark comedy about Minnesota moms and wives who want their independence back, so they start killing their husbands. And so that one's going to be a lot of fun.
That sounds
and I will
delightful.
be It is, yeah.
Wives killing their husbands. Yes, that's going to be a blast.
It is. It's going to be a lot of fun. And I'm going to play one of the Minnesota wives, and we're not going to discuss the fact that I am a man in a dress. So
No, that's fine. That's awesome.
Dude, our first film, actually, it's on Prime, is me in as an old Asian lady, and that's the whole that's the whole point of the entire film. It's like,
I love that.
Oh my God, that's awesome.
What is it called? Because now I need to look it up.
I did see a little bit about that, a teaser or something like that.
It's a terrible film. Like, you guys could watch it for free on our channel, honestly. But it's on Prime, it's on Tubi, it's
okay.
It's silly.
Well, going back to our earlier conversation, you said it's a terrible film, but it was a learning experience as an artist. So yeah.
Right. That's how you become experts. It's through experience.
Ah, there we go.
Yeah, see,
put that on a shirt, Susie.
I've been saying that for a long time. Really? I gotta make a shirt now. It's too hot to be making shirts.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's pretty awesome. But I also want to point out, Levi, your film won best feature film.
Yes.
Not only in my film festival though.
Ooh. Oh. What do you mean? Now I'm confused.
Well, you won. Didn't you just win one?
Yeah, I said that. The Horror Show Fest, the one in Italy, we just won. And then, and we won with you, which was really cool, and I appreciate and thank you so much.
It wasn't my idea. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, thank you to the judges.
Yeah, no, it was so cool that you won in our film festival and that you were able to attend.
Well, I thought my favorite. I said this on the podcast already with you, but having now seen my film with, we've been accepted into 6 festivals. I've been able to attend 3 of them.
Nice.
My favorite thing is experiencing it with an audience and feeling the energy in the room. And I will say my favorite experience was your festival because of how lively the audience was. So thanks, E.T., because you were there.
Yeah. No problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely was an intimate experience.
Yeah, it was really fun.
And it was the last film of the night.
Yeah.
But man, it was so, you'll have to as soon as it's available for streaming on Netflix. I'm still pushing for that.
Yeah, I love that you're pushing for Netflix.
As soon as it's available, or who knows, maybe it'll have a film, a theater, a block. I can't even talk right now. What do they call that? A theater run?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, like a theatrical run.
There you go. Something like that. Right, Joey?
Yes.
Then you'll have to let us know so that we can invite everyone to go and see it.
Yeah.
We were just going to do a tiny little introduction for our listeners, but I think the conversation turned out so well. It's going to be a full episode. We missed Jason Rivera in this episode. He had a little bit of a family emergency to take care of, but he will be back for our next episode. And so just tune in for the next one. I want you all to give yourselves a big hand. Yay! Thank you. We have now achieved our first episode of Fade Into Film. Say goodbye to our listeners, everybody.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
See you next time. Or not see you, but next time.
Hear you next time.
Works for me.